Welcome to Journalism in a Digital Perspective. Of course, you know we are in the digital age, so journalism is now digital. So, Journalism in a Digital Perspective is your go to channel on YouTube for everything communication and media studies. We will be teaching, lecturing, and we will be analyzing and dissecting communication and media studies issues on this platform. I urge you to stay tuned to us. I urge you to subscribe, to like, and to drop comments. I urge you to tell your friends and neighbors, students, and practitioners of communication and media studies that this is their channel. So if you are ready, I am ready. Let's start. Today we will be taking an introduction to the course called Online Journalism. We know what journalism is all about. Journalism is the gathering of news, is the dissemination of news, is the packaging of information to become news on media platforms. However, we take a step further to what we call online journalism. Online journalism is internet-based journalism. Internet has posed a great challenge as far as journalism is concerned. The internet has broken the walls. In fact, it is easier to say that the internet has brought democracy to the practice of journalism. Democracy in the sense that journalism is now a product of the people, by the people, and for the people. That is why we now have online journalism. Online journalism, we now have citizen journalists, we have people, there are content creators who have a large followership who can upload things, and they are all practicing what we call online journalism. This has been made possible through the availability of the internet. The major differences between digital journalism and traditional journalism. Number one on the list is interactivity. Traditional mass communication will tell you that mass communication had or has delayed feedback. It means that if you hear something on the radio, it will take time for you to reach back to the radio and react to such news items. But that is no longer possible. If channels television, for instance, post something on their Facebook page now, you can automatically react to what they have said. If they post something and you're not comfortable with it, you can tell them this is fake news, this information is not correct. That is, while we can say that the frontiers, the walls of demarcation in journalism have been broken because of digitization. So it now gives us instant feedback. People now give feedback to what they have heard, to what they have read, to what they have been told, and that is possible because of digital journalism. Another one is audience interactivity. You will read something in the newspaper, another person will read it in Lagos, another person will read it in New York, and there's no symphony, there's no agreement, there's no disagreement or agreement between the members of the audience. Whereas right now, even if I post on my Facebook page, as I'm just posting, you have every right to interact. In fact, in truth, people find love on the comment section of digital news platforms. Are we together? So that's interactivity. You'll see people arguing, you see people disagreeing, you see people bringing up their opinions, you see people even dissecting the news item even more. If you go to Fabrizio Romano Facebook page now, you'll see a lot of football analysts. They're talking about who Manchester United should sign and who they should not sign. Another major difference is the convergence, media convergence. Traditionally, you just read a newspaper. You will not get an audio of what you've just read. But if you go to a major news website now, you can read the news item. You will also have an audio link. They can also post a video. In fact, as it is running, as you're running, you're also dealing with adverts. There is convergence. There is convergence of media platforms. Radio, TV, newspaper, magazines have all come together just to produce one news item. That's another major difference. Another major difference is advert intrusion. You just want to go to YouTube. As far as you started watching, you will see an advert cut you short. Would that happen if you're watching a newspaper? If you're reading from a newspaper? No, it won't happen. You can easily decide to avoid the advert page of a newspaper. But on a digital media platform, you cannot avoid any advert. Another major difference between online journalism and digital journalism is the real-time impact. News is breaking in Germany right now. Everybody in Nigeria is away. And everybody can talk about it and everybody is instantly updated. Digital journalism has made the world a global village, because as something is happening right now in Lagos, in Tanzania, in Kuala Lumpur, everybody seems to be aware, because the major news platforms are updating, giving us time and time and time updates to the minute, to the hour, to the second. In fact, wars are fought on screens now. You don't just sit down and wait to come and hear that farming has happened. As it is happening, you can see it because of real-time updates. Those are the major differences between traditional journalism and digital journalism. Online journalism is the dissemination of news and information via the internet. We now know that we live in the digital era where everything is online, everything is digitally done. News and journalism practice is now digitally done. Online journalism is the modern form, that's the key word, modern form of journalism. Online journalists distribute editorial content through the internet as opposed to publishing through print or broadcast. Newspapers industries have been using this kind of journalism for the past years, where facts are reported, produced, and distributed through the internet. Online journalism is growing in popularity as many people no longer buy newspapers. Many people no longer listen to radio. They prefer online radios. They prefer podcasts. That's why we have online journalism now, because generations have changed, things have changed. So people are now consuming things via the internet. And now news is consumed more on the internet. Online journalism makes news more interesting because of its interactivity and the use of multimedia sources such as videos, audios, text. The internet produces unlimited audience base for online news sources, and this makes online journalism economically prosperous and popular among news audiences. Let's look at one standard definition of online journalism. Online journalism can be defined as the production of news and other reporting materials via the digital media. It entails the use of technology to tell stories, disseminating information as quickly as possible, and concentrating on the audience in a commercially driven way. Online journalism is vast and the scope is very big. What does it entail? What constitute online journalism? Because when we talk about traditional journalism, we used to know that we are talking about radio, TV, the magazines, and the newspapers. Now let's take a look at the scope of online journalism. What does it entail? Real-time reporting. As something is happening, that is every day, everything is a breaking news. Online journalism excels at delivering breaking news as it unfolds. As something happens in Akwa Ibom State, in Nigeria recently, we've been talking about the issue of Ibom A. As it was happening, as the different parastatals of government were issuing statements and counter statements, news medium we automatically, or news media we automatically analyzing, breaking the news, giving us instant updates. So digital journalism allows for that. Whereas if it were to be in the era of newspapers and televisions, you will have to wait till you get the news item, it gets to the news time before you read out the news. If it was newspapers, you have to wait till the next day to get the news. Whereas as it is happening now, you are getting it instantly. Multimedia integration. Now, beyond text, there is a conglomeration, there is a convergence of text, video, audio, podcast, everything as being integrated together, infographics, creating richer content. That's what online journalism does. If you go to a news website now, you will see as they're writing the news story, you will see an audio of the same news story, you will see a video, you will see an infographic explaining more in detail what they are talking about. That is what online journalism offers. And then there is the global reach. If I post something on my Facebook page right now, somebody from US can see it in real time. Somebody from America can see it in real time. But if it were to be an ordinary newspaper or magazine right now, or maybe a radio that's limited to a locality, the reach will not be as big as that. Adaptability and innovation. Online journalism makes room for evolution as it is happening right from the days of the normal Web 2.0 of Tim Berners-Lee to when we are having the social media in the early 2000s, and now we are having instant, more update, more evolution. We are dealing with AI now. So even as you're talking, as I'm talking, there could be interpretation, there could be transcription of what I'm saying, and you're getting more understanding, you're getting more image, convergence with other media. That's the scope. We're talking about the scope. Online journalism often integrates other media forms like television, radio, print, creating hybrid approach to news delivery and consumption. The BBC has a radio channel, has a TV channel, and they have a website, they have social media platforms. If you go to BBC website, you will see a TV, a link, you will see a radio link, you will see a podcast link, and there is a convergence with other media so that the audience do not lose out. You have more insight, you have more understanding of what they are talking about. Online journalism also involves what we call mobile journalism. Mobile journalism. The increasing use of mobile devices for news consumption. News consumption is now news is now majorly consumed with mobile devices. Of course, with your access to phone. In fact, I know very well that this video you'll be watching, because this is, of course, this is part of digital journalism. You'll be watching this video majorly. I know more will be watching with their phones, and you can as well interact with your phone. Before now, we used to hear that radio is mobile, radio is local, radio is personal. Those are the characteristics of radio. Now, digital journalism has taken over the characteristics of the radio. Digital journalism is essentially the production of news and other reporting materials via digital media. Digital journalism entails using technology to tell stories, disseminating information as quickly as possible, and concentrating on the audience in a commercially driven way. Digital journalism or online journalism is the contemporary form of journalism where editorial content is distributed via the internet as opposed to publishing and transmitting via print or broadcast. Now, we ask this question: what is the difference between digital journalism and traditional journalism? That word, traditional, means the normal newspaper, radio, TV, and magazine. Whereas we have an adjective describing the type of journalism we are talking about, and that is digital. Digital or online. Digital journalism is the modern form of journalism obtained in the digital era. It can be called digital journalism, it can be called online journalism. What does it mean? It means journalism with the aid of the internet. With social media, with internet connectivity, everything is now easier. Journalism has been transformed. That is the journalism we are talking about. Online journalism is growing in popularity as many people no longer buy printed newspapers, except they want to keep it for reference purposes. Today's internet users see online news sources as readily available for themselves. We used to hear that radio is personal, your phone is personal. So digital journalism has taken those frontiers to a new whole level. And then there's what we call data journalism. Data journalism. Online journalism also incorporates data analysis and visualization, allowing for deeper insights and more compelling storytelling, more understanding. That is what digital journalism offers. Thank you.